a dramatic lowering of the music. Let's see. Where did we put that graphic? There it is. Good day. Good day, everybody. How are you? All right. It's good to be here. I don't know about you, but it's good to be here. My sympathies to anyone that has connections in Italy after the earthquake there. That's no good. And let's see. Dave's here. John's here. Martin Stuckey's here. Rich is here. Giles is here. Martin K. Welcome, Martin. I've got an email from you I need to return. Prashana's here. Merle's here. Jerry's here. Bill's here. 422 is here. Now, 422. Why does that name ring a bell? That's some sort of color number thing, isn't it? 422. One of these days I'm going to have to learn about that. 422 is a color number. Merle has got problems with audio that he spent 6 hours on. Oh my goodness. Sounds like me. or in my case, sounds like silence in me. Prashana had a bad experience in Nepal last year with an earthquake. Yes, Giles, 422. I just figured that gets 422's their hidden meaning in their name. By the way, I just realized that there are folks watching the show that are actually watching us on YouTube. I know that sounds really stupid, but if you want to join the chat, because you hear me chatting, if you'll go to, well, you can see the chat right there. That's right. But if you want to go here to the website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, and watch the show, you can be in the chat room too. So, and I'll mention that again in case you forget. Larry's here. Welcome, Larry. It was great to talk with you this morning. And Larry and I talked about microscope cameras. Ooh, yes. Because he, among all the other things he's going to be doing, is going to be marketing high-end watches. And he has one watch called a skeleton watch, where you can actually see the little teeny pieces in the watch. And so we were talking about a microscope camera to allow you to see those little teeny pieces as if they were as big as me. That's cool. All right. Oh, and welcome, Larry. Glad you're here. And if these guys won't give you a hard time. They're a friendly group, and they behave for the most part, except for Rich. You got to look out for Rich. And John's wife is here. Hey, John's wife. Glad to have you today with us. Let's see who else might have slipped in. No, that's it so far. Okay, very good. Y'all introduce yourselves to Larry. Tell him where you're from, what you got going. And Larry is in, wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me. It popped up on my phone. I think it said South Dakota on the phone. Did it say South Dakota on the phone? Minnesota. I'm sorry. Minnesota. South Dakota was somebody else that I was talking to earlier. Well, maybe. No. I think it was Minnesota. Yeah. All right. Minnesota. There it is. Minneapolis. And John, that's a great point on the microscope camera, is that you're making a sacrifice, and the sacrifice is a frame rate. But if you're taking video of something that's either not moving or moving with a predictable movement, like the guts of a timepiece, then it probably will work well. Now, it may be that the frame rate doesn't happen to sync with the movement of the pieces in the watch, but they can get that worked out. Yeah, and I think the camera was like, I did a show back in 2013. It was on that VidBlaster guy where we had Diecast TV come in, and they didn't come in. We went to them on the internet, and they have little teeny cars, and they have a show about little teeny cars. And Joe Kelly was really excited about this stuff, and it's easy to get excited when he's excited. But anyway, he takes the little microscope camera, and he gets down inside those cars and shows the detail that's even there in the little teeny cameras. It was really cool. If you go into YouTube and you go back to, I think it was September 2013 when we did Diecast TV, but that's on the YouTube channel. All right. Today, oh, I better get my clock on there, because otherwise I won't, I'll just chat with you guys forever and ever and won't ever do what I'm supposed to do. Let's see, let's go to position and move that time over just a tad. There we go. Now we can see it better. Today, you probably saw from the thingy. Can we make that go again? Yeah, let's make that go again. That would help if we turned it on. There we go. Today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about IBC, which is coming up in September, and some important people are going to be there. And coming up on Monday, and we'll talk about this in the show too, will be the next YouTube Fun Time Live show, and then an update on the Windows 10 webcam crisis, and then a troubleshooting tip, and then a couple of updates. Let's see, IBC root beer. Yeah, Rich. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one, Rich. I like you. That's Rich. He's always on the cutting edge. In fact, sometimes we'd like to push him over the edge. I'm teasing, of course. Okay, let's see. Don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube directly, you can, when we start the show, the chat room is going to still be going on. And if you'd like to see what those guys are saying, and they're poking fun of me, they'll poke fun of me during the show. And it may be funny to them, but there we go. And sometimes, sorry about that. Sometimes it's really funny because they'll be talking in all caps. Tom, you don't have any audio. Tom, there's a big spider behind you. It's cool. So go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click the Watch Now link, and you'll go to the same video. You'll see all of this that we'll show now. But when the show starts, the show looks like this, without the graphic up there and the little time down here. And so the chat room goes away, and we don't want you to miss out. So come join the chat. You don't even have to join the chat. You just go to the website, you get the same video, and then the chat is right below it. And you can pop out the chat if you want to. John has got a poll here. How many are using a professional enterprise version of Windows 10 with vMix? Pro, Windows Pro. Here's the poll I want to take. How many of those of you that are using Windows 10 are using the Anniversary Edition? That's a big question. And how many of those are having, Giles is up to 480p. All right. How many of those are having problems with webcams? Because that's been well documented as a problem. Event Tech, glad you're here. Absolutely glad you're here. Let's see, who else? Al is here. Al, all right. I didn't know you were coming. Good Shepherd Al is here. Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. And one of the, you guys have got to go see the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church live stream, or the recorded live stream. Al does a fabulous job with that. Good job. Glad to have you, Al. Who else has shown up there? What's the version number of Anniversary Edition? It is, hang on, I might be able to look that up. Sometimes I get lucky and I can do these things. 1607. How about that? Whoa, pretty good there. Pretty good. Giles says that his computer has done all his updates. Yeah, that's a problem with Windows 10. We're losing control. Jerry's on 1511. Okay, well, if you get the anniversary edition, you'll go up to whatever 16 something I said. But read on it, read up on it before you just dive into it. You want to go in with your eyes wide open. Eyes wide open. Martin Stuckey, are you guys using any overhead cams? Or the, oh golly, what's the sport? Tell me the sport. I just, for some reason, that sport name never sticks in my head. I know I want to go, of course, you know, where you've got the giant granite disc and you're pushing it down the ice and you're trying to make it land in a certain place and knock the guy out of the way. Curling, thank you. Yes, curling on ice. Are you using overhead cameras for that? Well, I'd love to know more on that. Okay, Jerry's on 1511. Giles, think we should try out the window update group policy settings on the computer. Jerry has currently, yes, he do. Okay, gotcha. The overhead cams, Martin, they're just fixed cams. They aren't PTZs, are they? And are they high-res, high-definition cameras? And how are you connecting them? Are they wireless? Inquiring minds need to know. Goodness gracious. Mike's here. Welcome, Mike. Glad to have you. Better to have you almost late than not at all. Just teasing. You're not late. You got 5 minutes left. Now, we do need to let Larry know that anybody that arrives late, and of course Larry's already here, so it doesn't apply for this week, but anybody that arrives late has to bring refreshments to the after show, the post show. So if you come in late, that means if you come in like during the show, we're going to tell you that you have to bring refreshments to the post show. And we've had all sorts of refreshments in the past. I mean, people have brought pizza, they've brought chili, you know, of course, beer and wine and soft drinks and water and various, you know, fried creatures. All of it virtual, of course, so you can use your imagination as and whatever you can find a Google image of. So that can be a lot of fun. Let's see, just checking through the list here, see if anybody else has slipped in when I wasn't watching. No, we're good. Larry feels special. Careful on that one. These guys will take off on that. All right. All right, let's see. We've got just a few. You know, it always worries me when here it is, it's Wednesday, it's show day. We've got 3 minutes and 50 some odd seconds left. Oh, I know what I want to do that I haven't done yet. I want to check and see what the delay is, because there's always a delay. Today we're streaming, and we'll go over this in more detail in just a minute. But today we're streaming on YouTube. Let's see if I can look. Can I find it in you? Can I find this stream on YouTube on my phone? Let's go to the page. Is there a live shows like no. My videos, will it be on my videos? No. Rich says about 25 seconds delay. How would you know, Rich? Well, it's not on. I don't think I'm going to see it here on the YouTube app on my phone. So I'm going to have to go to the web site. EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. There we go. And it is the mobile edition. So we'll go to Watch Live YouTube version. And there it is right there. And looks like we're at about a 11-second delay. Can I make this go full screen? Yeah, there we go. About a 11-second delay. Let's try this. Let's try this. Well, maybe a 12-second delay, 13-second delay. All right. So enough of that nonsense. Can I put a real-time clock on the screen? Probably. But, well, I mean, I guess I could put a web browser. Let's see. Well, let's do this. Let's just say, what's a good website for the time that shows the time and the, well, it's not going to be Time Magazine. Let's do that. Time Now. Time Now is exact time, any time zone. That'll work. My clock is a half a second behind, it says. So let's put that website in the web browser. And file not found. Oh, did I use the wrong thing? Yeah, I went to video. Let's try web browser. Okay. And so that's the current time right there. And we'll see if we can't drop that in somewhere in the pre-show. We're running out of time. Uh-oh, the show's supposed to start right now. Well, bear with me just a second. Multi-view, time, position, zoom. Crop. Bear with me. Sometimes I'm a little slow at this stuff. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay. We're going to make it a little smaller. This might be something we want to always do. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's save that preset. If you don't, I would encourage you to save your presets regularly, because you make little changes to your setup, and then if power goes out or you need to run off to dinner, so you turn everything off and you come back, if you remember to do last as loading the last preset, but I'm not convinced that I want to do that. I want to make sure I save that, give it a name so I can load it whenever I need it. Okay, so now you guys have the absolute time. John says there's a title in vMix that does that. Oh, well, that would be easy. Merle just had his first blue screen. Oh, Merle, I'm sorry. So you guys can now see the time. Let me catch up. There's a code titler in vMix to add a clock. Thank you very much. I don't know how to do that. In VidBlaster, you could put the time on the screen. It picks up from your PC. Is VidBlaster a dirty word now? Well, no, but it's a technology who I think is struggling to keep up. Let's put it this way. All right, John says he's got 17 seconds. It's not in the vMix Pod, there's a title, just had a blue screen. Hey, he likes doing it the hard way. Definitely like doing it the hard way. Okay, let's check our list. IPTV Newswire, welcome. Glad you're here. 180 is here. Glad for 180. Everybody knows we talked about 180 last week. Henri is here. Welcome, Henri. Looks like, and Rafael is here. Super. And we're about to start the show. As you can see, we're 4 minutes and 7 seconds, 8 seconds late. If you're watching us on YouTube, please come over to easternshorebroadcasting.com down there, and that way you can have advantage of seeing the chat as it's going on, because we don't show that during the show. So with no further ado, I have some lemonade. I encourage you to get a soft drink of your choice. Oh, that's good. Down here in the southern part of the United States, we drink tea, but we drink it with sugar previously added, called sweet tea. And you do it while the tea's warm. Oh, there's nothing like a big old glass of sweet tea when it's 99 degrees outside. All right, let's get this show on the road. I am going to mute my mic, take off the overlays, and thank you guys for an interesting pre-show. So let's get going, and we will get this pony heading up the hill here. So I'm going to fade to black, mute my mic, and then we'll get going. Sit tight. I'll be right back. Hey, welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and you are watching Streaming Idiots. Yes, you are. And if you thought you were going to watch an intelligent show that had lots of real meat about streaming, well, you're probably going to be disappointed, but hang around anyway. It'll be a lot of fun. No, seriously. We're delighted to have you with us. If you're watching us on YouTube Live, come on over to the website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, and you can click the Watch Live button and join in, because there's the chat there. That's the neat thing about watching live. And for all the folks that are in chat, delighted to have you with us, and y'all behave. You're here. If you're watching us on YouTube later, please subscribe, and that way you'll get a note whenever we post a new video. But please come watch us live. Live is so much more fun. We have snacks in the post-show party, and you don't want to miss that. We'll try to figure out who. It looks like Peter might be bringing the snacks today. We'll see. Whoever shows up last in chat has to bring snacks. Kind of an interesting show today. A little bit of a smorgasbord. A little of this, a little of that. I just wanted to start out saying I just returned back from a trip to South Carolina in the USA, Eastern Coast, a pretty little place called Pawleys Island, where I was meeting with a church about doing some live streaming there. And they weren't doing anything, and they weren't sure actually where to start. So we had a great conversation with different members of the staff and other folks to determine, what direction do you want to go? How much money do you want to spend? How do you want to make this work? And it was really cool for me to be in with them at the very beginning, instead of having somebody call me and say, well, we've already bought this camera, and we bought this computer, and we've got this, and we've got this, but we don't know how to make it work together. And it's just like, okay, well, let's see what we can reuse and see how we can claim it. So if you're thinking about doing something like that, I don't care. I mean, I really don't. I'm going to be taken care of one way or the other. But call on me for advice. At least let's get started the right way. Even if you source all your equipment and software somewhere else, let's make some good decisions up front. I can help with that. Shoot me an email. Tom at easternshorebroadcasting.com, and let's chat about it. Let's get you started right. Coming up in what is it going to be? Maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I guess, is going to be IBC in Amsterdam. Now, IBC is a broadcasting conference for the European market, but folks come from all over. For example, I know that vMix is going to be at IBC. They're going to be in booth 11.AO1. Yeah, there are a ton of, there are a ton of different halls there at this particular conference, and they are in the 11th hall in the back of the hall, 11.AO1. And they're not close to anything. Well, I take that back. They're going to be close to Joy Mechanics and Pliant Tech. They'll be right next to them. But they will be in the same hall with Panasonic and GoPro and Atomos, so there will be some there. So if you're going to IBC, remember the 11th hall, and go look at GoPro and Atomos, and then visit Martin and Tim at the vMix booth in the back. I think they have some freebies, so if you're there, you get a freebie. Our friends at Madgwell will be there also. They'll be in Hall 5, C79, and they will be with Intel and Bright Cove and Wowza and Akamai and TangoWare TV Storm, and TV Storm will be right next to them. So go by. I don't know that they're giving away free capture cards, but you can tell them, Tom said I could come to your booth and get a free capture card. So they may end up sending me the bill for it, so don't send them that. But our good friend Martin Kay will be there at the Madgwell booth, so you want to check that out so that you can meet Martin. Martin is the one that is, and I got notice of it just this morning. Oh, do you hear the thunder? We hope we won't lose. If it looks like we lose you, we're on battery backup here for about 3 minutes, and then supposedly 19 minutes after a power outage, the generator kicks in. So we may lose lights, things may flicker for a second, but hang in there with us. We had that happen about a year and a half ago, and we maintained everything. We've got the internet modems; all those are on APCs, and so we didn't lose power to them, and again the backup generator was able to kick on and keep us going. So but anyway, go meet Martin at the Madgwell booth, and that's 5.C79, and say that Tom said you could have a free capture card. But Martin has written, or is in the process of writing, an app or some helper software to help the Madgwell capture card integrate with NDI directly. That's going to be interesting, and Martin's going to come on the show, or at least we're going to do something to get some more information about that when it's ready for prime time. And Martin, I owe you an email, so I haven't forgotten about that. So that's coming up September 8th through 12th. There'll probably be a lot of live from the floor kind of streams going on. I don't know if vMix is going to be doing shows there, but we'll find out. And speaking of vMix and shows, coming up next Monday, that's going to be August 29th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time in the afternoon, in the evening, will be the August, boy, they squeezed it right in, didn't they? The August Fun Time Live Show. If you're not familiar with vMix and the Fun Time Live shows, where did they come up with that title, Tim? Anyway, it's about anywhere from a half an hour to an hour show by the vMix guys, where they come in and they talk about vMix, and they talk about, last time, the July show, they introduced the new vMix 18 feature. Now, vMix 18 hasn't been released and probably won't be until late fall, but they were using vMix 18 for that show, and they probably will this coming Monday too. And they had a new feature called activators. I think last week I called it accelerators, but until we really understand more of what it does, it's similar to, it's in the same category as a shortcut or a whatever that other feature is. My brain is mush right now. Anyway, so coming up next Monday night 8 o'clock Eastern. For those of you in the European time zones, you're going to have to really stay up late for that one. What would that be, about 2 or 3 in the morning? Actuators. Thank you, Prashana. Prashana's correcting me or confirming for me. Actuators, not activators. Yeah, there you go. That's coming up next Monday, August 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So for them, and this is going to be probably produced in Australia. This will be right before they leave for IBC. So the time will be probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon or so. No, probably 11 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So it'll be a decent time for them for a change. Let's see, what are we going to do here? One other little piece of newsy items. The software that we market for vMix that automatically controls the switching of camera to camera based on audio, the audio control switcher, has been updated. And it's been updated now, some desperately needed updates. One was to the ability to have presets. So if you've got 6 cameras set up and you've got 6 microphones, one for each camera, and the software is going to change the vMix shot from camera to camera depending on the microphone that's with that camera, to have to set that up from scratch every time is cumbersome and unnecessary. So we've updated the software, and now you can save a preset. So if you have 26 cameras and 26 microphones, you won't have to load all 26 of them again. And it made some other minor updates that are going to be making the software a little easier to use too. It's in our web store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Hey, I got that right this time. And I think the software is 150, 175, and 375, depending on the configuration. The software requires that the PC have separate audio inputs. So using it with a conventional mixer gives you one input. So if you've got 6 microphones, obviously it's not going to work. We've done a show on that. I'll refer that to you to go watch the show. Let's see. I've been corrected in the chat room about 3 different times here, so we're going to get it right. That's the nice thing about chat, is that those guys they're smarter than I am. That's the thing. Don't tell them, though. It'll go to their heads. Windows 10. Windows 10 Anniversary Edition. Windows 10 Anniversary Edition is out. Came out last week. Was it no, it came out the week before that. It was may have been the week before that. Anyway, it was for those of us that are not Windows 10 fans, me, I was hesitant to update it, but I thought, what the heck? How am I going to be able to share my experiences with you if I don't have those experiences? So I went ahead and updated to Windows Anniversary Edition. And it's kind of like, the first time you do something and you anticipate that it's going to be really horrible, and it turns out that it was just no big deal. Well, that's how this Windows Anniversary update was for me. I was anticipating, because I had a terrible experience when I did the Windows 7 to Windows 10 update. Things stopped working. I had to rebuild. Let's don't even go there. I have nightmares about it to this day. So I was anticipating that kind of thing. But, it's the latest, greatest. I want to be on the cutting edge. Of course, you know what happens when you're on the cutting edge. Yes, you bleed. And I thought, let's try it. So, of course, the update came out on a Tuesday. Showtime for me was on Wednesday. When should I update it? Should I update it Tuesday, or should I update it Thursday, the day after the show? Yes, I updated it Tuesday when it came out, and it worked. And it was a non-event. It was great. And what I didn't realize at the time, and a lot of you have realized, is that webcams did not work for some reason. Now, there's a highly technical reason why it didn't work, But I think that Windows 10 and the webcams didn't like each other. They didn't play nice. So, is that fixed? Well, I set out this morning to find out if it was fixed or not. So I plugged up my Logitech C920 webcam, and the PC was already going, and vMix was already started. And so I plugged it in. It recognized the camera, went to vMix, added a camera. vMix rejected it. It rejected it. A gobbledygook message to me, but anyway, it rejected it. So I remembered, yes, now if you go into add an input, and I'll do it here, but I'm not going to show you. You can look on your own. Go to camera, and there's something on there called video format. And in video format, you have lots of options of video formats. And so I tried all of them. None of them worked. And I tried different resolutions. None of those worked. And I tried different frame rates. None of those worked. I didn't try every possible combination because it would have been, like 900 possible combinations. But I tried enough combinations that nothing worked. Well, this kind of leads me into life-saving troubleshooting tip number 1. Which, in order for me to share that with you, let me talk a little bit about human nature, or at least my nature. My nature is, if I encounter a problem, whatever the solution to that problem is, the problem itself is probably the worst possible problem it can be. It's like if you hear a noise in your car, and there are cheap noises and there are expensive noises, and sometimes there's a thump, 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 thump noise like a rod knock, which means you need a new engine. Well, that's kind of what I thought this was. I thought this was going to be a rod knock kind of thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go in, I got to update the BIOS, and I got to download this, and I've got to change this, and I've got to do all that, and I don't know how to do all that stuff. That was my initial reaction, was this is going to be impossible for me. But after my experience with the Epson tech support, let me give you the Epson tech support story real quickly. Epson tech support, this is 10 years ago. I had a little Epson printer, and it worked really well. And I don't know, I was rearranging the office, and when I've got everything back where it was supposed to go, it didn't work anymore. I tried every trick in the book, and I'm not that bright, but I'm pretty bright, and I couldn't get it to work, so I called Epson tech support, got somebody on the phone pretty quickly, which I was surprised, and they start through the script. They've got a script. Well, Mr. Sinclair, we value you as a customer, all that stuff. I love that. And they said, we want to go through these troubleshooting, and I thought, okay, that's great, let's do it. They said, well, is it plugged in? And I said, look, guy, I'm a computer guy, I don't know everything, but I know a lot. And, you would think that somebody like me would have already thought about something like that. And he said, Mr. Sinclair, I understand. I really do. But we have to go through this script in order to get to the hairy stuff. And I said, okay. You want me to check and make sure it's plugged in? He said, yes, sir, if you would indulge me to do that. I said, okay. I'm really actually going to do it. I'm not going to pretend to do it. And he said, okay. So I crawled down underneath, and it wasn't plugged in. It was unplugged. So that's where troubleshooting tip number 1 is. Don't do what your brain wants you to do. Do the simplest thing first. So here I was having this fight earlier today of the hard thing versus the simple thing. And I thought, simple, life-saving troubleshooting tip number 1. Shut everything down, turn off your PC, and restart. And suddenly life is good. All the little bad things that crept in go away. Not really, but what happened was, obviously, plugging the camera in while the PC was already on, while the software was already running. Whatever updates needed to happen didn't happen. So, suffice to say, I turned everything back on. The camera was already plugged in, popped up vMix, went into cameras, added the Logitech, picked the default setting for video. What is it called again? Add input camera video format. And poof, I have camera. Here is proof. I have camera. Now, it may not be adjusted quite right. And obviously, I'm not doing green screen with it. But there it is. I didn't do anything fancy to get this camera back. So whatever the problem was with Microsoft and Logitech not playing nicely together, I don't have it. Other people may have it, but I don't have it. So, and John's wife is saying in the chat room, my troubleshooting is, John, why isn't this working? Yeah, I love it. I love it. So here, and John's wife, here's troubleshooting tip number 1 that you can do. Turn it off, turn it back on. I bet that fixes 50% of the problems out there. I'd love to hear from you if that's the case. So anyway, Windows 10 Anniversary Edition, I commend it to you. And I commend it to you that if you haven't installed today's updates, I would go ahead and do that because it probably is going to fix that that Logitech problem. So that's my story and my my deal. Oh, one other thing that I noticed this. Let's see if I can cue this up. I noticed this in the what do you call it? What do you call this kind of stuff here? There we go. Let me show you here. This is my task manager. And this is a screenshot of it. I figured would be easier just to do a screenshot. So this is not live. So let me get out of the way here a little bit. So you can see vMix is using 11.5%. 24% CPU, and this new thing came out right here called Windows Camera Frame Server. Let me get out of the way of it for you. There you go, Windows Camera Frame Server. I've never seen this before. This just popped up today. So I think whatever this Windows Camera Frame Server thing is, that wants to eat up 3.1% of my CPU. I think that's attached to my Logitech, and I didn't have a chance to test it and unplug the Logitech and see if that went away, but I will check that at some point. So, so if you see something new there, Windows Camera Frame Server, yeah. Right now it's using 28, 32, 34, sorry, not 28, 2.8, 31, 3.1, 3.3, 4.1%. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Let's just close off my Logitech cam and see if it goes away. And it dropped to 0.0%. So this is it, right there. Oops. Wherever that is, right there. There you go. That is the Logitech fix from Windows. And it's apparently, it's going to eat up a little bit of CPU, 3.1% to 3.4, 4.4%, somewhere in that range. But that's what's going on there. For those of you that are just interested, this is today's internet speed. Download of 91.4, upload of 24.6, call it 0.7. But notice, it's not like that's a magic number. That number fluctuates, and that number fluctuates live. And that's why, that's why I don't stream at 20, because I don't have 20 regularly. In fact, see this little dip right there? That's probably 20 right there. But it's going to be going up and down and up and down. Of course, we're interested in the upload port, not the download part. I mean, the download's interesting, but it's not that. And so remember when you're streaming to give yourself a little bit of headroom. In fact, the general recommendation is 100% headroom. So if you're streaming like we are today at 2.5 megabits upload, you want to make sure you have a 5 megabit upload. When you test it, because that means it's gonna dip and drop, and Merle says he's got the same speed. All right, good deal, Merle. Glad for it. So that's the story on that. And we got some great stuff here in chat. If you're if you've joined us late and you're watching on YouTube, by all means go to Eastern Shore Broadcasting. You can go there right now and pick up the show where it says Watch Live, and you'll also get the chat room where some folks are sharing some really good information. So some links about the camera thing I had up there just a second ago, the Windows camera frame server, and some other explanations. What else we got? Oh, I know. Last thing, because we're about out of time. We have been working on a budget event HD streaming system, really primarily designed for churches. The idea was to take a camera that had PTZ function, so you don't need a cameraman, number one, and make that available over IP, so you don't need a capture card, number two, and put it into a very portable PC like a laptop, number three, and be able to stream that, of course, using vMix. And using vMix's ability to actually set presets with the PTZ camera and then switch cameras or switch shots based on that. With one camera and a gigabit network and my favorite is the Asus ROG Republic of Gamers gaming laptop, and vMix, you've got a killer system for $3,500, maybe $4,000, just depending on prices in your area. If you're interested in that, I'll send you the specs. Shoot me an email, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com, and we can chat about it. And it may not be something like that is what's best for you, but it would be a very workable solution. I'm hoping to be able to test out this in a sports environment this fall with some local high school sports here. I'm thinking maybe start out with some freshman football, because they never ever get any video done of them, so maybe the moms and dads would appreciate it, and then see how well that a PTZ will do in that kind of situation. Probably have to supplement it with a conventional camera, but the thought is try to get away with as little personnel as possible, and the advantage of being able to put a PTZ camera in places where you can't put a manned camera. So that's kind of the thinking there. Pretty cool. I think it's going to be interesting, and if I get it done, I'll bring some clips to the show. Upcoming show, we want to show you this budget HD system for churches. We'll put it together, probably go out to the church and get some video out there so we can bring it back and show you how it's working and what it looks like. And then we've got the folks at X Keys are going to send us one of the X Keys controllers that is designed to work with vMix. And so that's fun. That should be showing up this week, I think. And then one of the representatives, one of the engineers, is going to come on the show. And then one of our friends from our vMix, our VidBlaster days, Sheldon Neal, who got in, it was one of the first people I knew to really go whole hog into HD, streaming HD sports and using instant replay, took a detour into the wedding photography business and has kind of come back to the broadcasting business. And so we want to get Sheldon on to talk about what he's doing with broadcasting, because Sheldon he's a former HP employee. I think he got laid off, or maybe he just saw an opportunity and went out on his own, and now has figured out how to monetize his video. And that's a question I get asked a lot of times, all the time, is, Tom, is there a business in this? And I think Sheldon's got a unique concept. So we want to give him a chance to explore that with us here today. So, hey, that's the show for today. I can see that Paul Richards from PTZ Optics has shown up late, so he gets to bring refreshments to the after show. If you're watching us live, go over to easternshorebroadcasting.com. Come on in the chat. We've got a good group of folks there. Coming up next week, well, actually between now and next week, next Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern will be the vMix Fun Time Live show. You can go to vmix.com and get linked up to it from there, or if you're not sure, shoot me an email, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com, and I'll help you get hooked up with that. If I can answer any questions, please let me know. Please subscribe on YouTube. Hey, if you'd like to know what's going on with Eastern Shore Broadcasting and this show, Streaming Idiots at the Last Minute, go to Eastern Shore Broadcasting, sign up for Twitter, follow us on Facebook, that kind of stuff, because we post a lot of the last minute kind of detail-y things right there. And so you can stay up with the latest, greatest, or the latest, weirdest, or whatever it may be. I am Tom Sinclair. I am the Streaming Idiot. It has been my pleasure to have you with us today, and we will see you. We'll see you next week. Okay. Later. Not a bad show. Not a bad show. And we are out. We are out. Let's bring up our post-show here. And who popped in? Let's see. Paul Richards is here. Welcome, Paul. Slumming today, are you? That's all right. We're glad to have you. Peter H. is here. I saw guest 180. Yeah, guest 180. And Kevin's here. Welcome, Kevin. Kevin, did you get my email? Did that make any sense, and did it help? That's the real questions. Yeah, thunder always is kind of a scary little thing, Rich. It's one thing to have the power go off. It's the other thing to be blown out of the house to the next room. I saw out of the corner of my eye, Paul will be sending Perfect Track to me next week. Ooh, Perfect Track. Oh, Perfect Track is cool. Perfect Track is the ability for a PTZ cam from PTZ Optics, of course, to focus in on a subject like me and then follow that subject wherever he goes. Is that cool or what? That's going to be cool. Going to be great. And obviously not everybody's going to want one. Not everybody's going to be able to afford one. I mean, we're talking what, $5 or $6 grand, something like that. But for certain applications, it's going to be the right tool for the job. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Thank you, Merle. Appreciate the kudos there. Merle, if you want to work together on audio at some point, I'd be happy to set aside some time and help you troubleshoot whatever it was. So let me know. Let's see. Thank you, Paul. John, have you the HW captured? He's not talking to me. Al said he got to meet. Oh, look, this is cool. He got to meet two of his online viewers in person, the members. Al's at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, and I love the way they do this. I think it's so cool. But I'm a cyberspace kind of guy. And so Al had live streams the services from Good Shepherd, and people have somehow, it's the Lord, no doubt, have found this live stream and watch it and love the church and want to be members, but they live across the country. So they send their contributions in as if, they were putting it in the plate as the plate passes by. And for some of the members, the church sends them a little communion kit. So when the church celebrates communion, they've got the wafer and the grape juice there at home with them. And Al's saying that two of them came from Puerto Rico to Wisconsin to visit Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. And Al is one of my heroes. Let me tell you, Al is one of my heroes. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Giles says, does NewTek charge a fee for implementing NDIs? Are completely open source? And Paul's correct. It doesn't. Not charging a fee, but it's also not open source. In fact, it's very closed source. But they are open to modifying it and making it work with as many things as possible. They want it to be a can opener. It works with every can, that kind of thing, regardless of the size of the can. Mike says, do you guys see the URL I posted about Logitech and interviews? Sorry, I had to step away for no minute. Mike, I haven't, but I want to read it. And Al's, of course, being his modest self. Al has a dachshund. And they dressed that dachshund up in what was it, a teddy bear costume? It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Or was that your dachshund, Al, or was that just a video clip you posted? Or was that somebody else altogether? You know, sometimes it all runs together. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Let's go back in time and see what else I might have missed. Yeah, the question that I wanted here, let's see. John L. says, how is it going with the NDI-enabled cameras? And Paul says he has a prototype, but the chips are a bit high right now. Now, Paul, was that answer about that, or was that on the perfect track? Because I want to try the NDI camera too. Let's see, speeds. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Yeah, one of the things that I don't like about this chat is that if I'm scrolling back through the chat, and yeah, y'all can't see me scrolling back because I'm looking at a different one that's on the screen. If there's a post while I'm scrolling back, then and there's supposedly a setting somewhere, and I don't have the setting in the right position, obviously, to be able to go back and look without having to see. Activators, actuators, yeah, it's all. Until I use it and know what it is, I'm probably not going to remember it. Paul says the chips are expensive. Yeah. That's why I like plain chips. You know, when you start putting barbecue on them, they cost more. So, you know, plain chips as opposed to, you know, Doritos or those kind of things. Definitely a plain chip kind of guy. Matt Davis, our engineer, knows all the details, but it's a high-powered ARM processor. And you guys need to meet Matt Davis. This guy is a genius. Amazing. Amazing guy. Not that Paul's, you know, Paul's pretty sharp too. Get myself in trouble here. Gee whiz. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's go back and see if anybody else has joined this rowdy party. Oh. All right, Giles has got somebody who thinks they can make an HDMI to NDI adapter. Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't think there's a fee. There is an SDK that he can get. Barbecue chips. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Mike's my buddy. IPT Newswire. That is, oh golly, who is that? Tell me. I'll get it in a minute. Thanks for taking time to broadcast the show today. She's always so polite. Will you post a video on the content on your YouTube channel from vMix setup with HD version and 3 cameras? Ty, yes, of course, Ty. Sorry about that. Yes and no. How about that? How can I answer that quickly? Because it's a long answer. If somebody came to me and said, Tom, I want to see a setup that does HD with 3 cameras, my first question always is, what are you going to do with it? Is this going to be for a sports app? Going to travel with you from venue to venue as you broadcast roller derby? I mean, you know, all of those scenarios could go into that setup, but all of those scenarios would, at least optimally, require a different setup. portability, security, camera connections. And then, then let's talk cameras. We talk about SDI cameras or HDMI cameras or IP cameras or some other connection for the camera, or a smorgasbord of different cameras. All three cameras the same, all three cameras different. So, that's my way of saying to you, you want a hamburger, and I'm going to say, well, do you want fries with that? You want cheese? You want lettuce and tomato? You want it medium rare or well done? Do you want a bun? You want a sesame seed bun? Do you want a grilled bun? I'm an idiot. I can't help it. But that's kind of that's the thing. You can't, if you order a hamburger, you're going to get a burger and bread. Well, maybe. I don't know. One of my questions, this has nothing to do with computers. It drives servers in restaurants crazy. They'll have steak or a hamburger on the menu, and I say, what kind of beef is it? Well, and they say, what do you mean, what kind of beef is it? Well, is it prime? Is it choice? Is it select? Is it certified Black Angus? And they're thinking, this guy, what's going on with this guy? Well, I know that, because I'm a hamburger connoisseur, that those different grades of meat make for different taste, and depending on what you're using. Now, select is select is just regular old hamburger meat. Prime is, and there's a grade above prime, and I never remember what it is because I can't afford it. But prime is like only 3% of beef is prime. So going back to the analogy for computer-wise, I need to know all the answers to those questions in order to do that. Now, can I create a generic setup that might work in your application? Yes, I can, and I've been asked to do that before. And I generally resist doing that because I don't know that that's the best way for me to be of service. The best way for me to be of service is to help you find out what it is you need and then help you meet those needs. Because what I don't want to do, and I haven't done it, and I hope I never do it, is help somebody buy something and it doesn't perform the way they expect because it doesn't do what they need it to do, just because it won't. Now, I've had people come to me after that situation, and they say, well, we bought this setup, and it's got this, 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 and this, and we can't do that, and that. And I'm thinking, well, of course you can't do that, and that, because this, and this won't do that, and that, without having these other things or taking some of this out and putting other things in its place. And it's just, I have thought, and I'm close to it, I have thought about marketing a generic streaming setup. But even then, the part of me that wants to be specific to the need says, well, maybe I need to have one for sports, one for talk show studio environment, one for churches. They would all be, 4-camera setups, but they would really be real different depending on the needs. So, Ty, that was a long answer to a short question. I apologize, but not all of it was for you. It was for other folks too that are out there thinking, well, I'd like to build a PC, and then suddenly vMix came up on their radar, and and one of the things that vMix really likes in a PC card they could get, and would it fit, and what would they do with the other one, and the PC that they built using, I think they built it thinking they were going to use VidBlaster on it, and they still may. But by substituting this new capture card and using vMix on it, instead of having 70 to 90% CPU use, they're going to have 20 to 25% CPU use. Today I think we had, including the 4% for the Logitech webcam, I think we were at 28%. And that's streaming HD, 720p, and recording 1080p. So that's just me on a rant. Sorry about that. Al's got on online members joining. Oh, cool. I want to watch that. Great. The stream went offline and came back. Ah. And back again. That's interesting because it hasn't dropped here. Thank you. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, and Ty said the setup would be for news. So that would be a permanent setup, Ty, in a studio environment. If you'll share with me about cameras, I'll help try to dial that in again and again. Sorry about that ramp. Okay, so some of you guys have seen the stream going and coming. Am I back? Am I back? Prashana, so long. Paul, so long. Good luck. Break a leg. Was come and go for a bit, but fine now. Wow. Wow. Maybe storm. Could have been. Okay, sorry about that. Bye, Chris Watts. See you next week. Didn't even know you were here. I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. YouTube said the stream is offline and then you came back. That's interesting. That's interesting. Does vMix plan to integrate with Roku? I don't know. I don't know that they've been asked. That's a good question. But typically, your content delivery network would integrate with Roku, whoever they might be. You can certainly do that. I am inside and dry, no doubt. In fact, I don't even know that the storm is here. Looking at the radar, the storm was in the bay and heading away from us. But you know how sensitive some of this stuff is. Lightning strike 30 miles away can affect you. Right. Checking through the guest list to see if I've missed anybody. I have a slight sync issue with audio and video. That's interesting. Okay, thank you, Kevin, for sharing that. I'm assuming the audio is ahead of the video. Everybody else see that? Yeah, Rich got rained on it while he was in West Virginia, video and the jet ski races. And he had to cover everything up with the garbage bags. And it wasn't just a little rain, it was just one of these. Audio is ahead. Okay. Al says the sync is here. Okay. Yeah, how about that? That's interesting. One of the things that could possibly affect sync, can I clap? The sync can be affected if, well, let me put it this way. I have an older laptop that I watch video on sometimes, and sometimes the sync can be effective if I'm watching at a higher resolution than the laptop can really support. Kevin says he's one clap off, so that's a lot. That was probably 15 frames. Merle said that a refresh fixed the sync issue. Yeah, I don't know how it can get out of sync. I mean, I would assume YouTube's, well, who knows what goes on behind the scenes in their player. Oh, there's the rain. I can hear it. Is anybody using the a refresh fixed it? Yay! All right. Is anybody using any of the new audio controls in the vMix audio mixer, like the gain or the compression or the EQ or the gate, any of that stuff? Because I think it's really cool stuff. and some of it I frankly don't have a clue how to work, but I do know that each one of the audio inputs, each input has a delay built into it. I mean, has the opportunity to add a delay. John's wife said, I thought light was faster than sound. It is, but video is fatter than audio. It takes more processing power, and so sometimes it gets a little bit behind. Audio is light and breezy. So it's almost the opposite. Interesting observation, though. I like it. Yeah, let's see. In the audio delay, it can go up to 20,000 milliseconds, so that's like 20 seconds. And it also can go to a delay of negative 1 second. I don't know how. I don't know how you can do that. Yeah, I think Paul had to go back to work. Paul had to go back to work. Rich says he found that AT MiFi tends to drop network packets and had bad audio sync issues. Ooh, that's no good. That's no good. So are you using, are you bonding? Are you doing any bonding? So taking maybe Verizon and, AT&T and Sprint and bonding them all together? You use Verizon now. Yep, I've had the best result with Verizon. But I know if you've got a USB card that you can bond them in software on your PC. You tried bonding and it didn't work well. Okay. Okie dokie. Well, what shall we talk about now? I'm about talked out. Y'all talk for a while. Oh my goodness. The feed would only go to one leg. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. If you're curious, you probably aren't. But if you're curious, well, let's go back to this. This is the show shot. Where can we? Right here. This is the show shot. This is the clean show shot. This is the show shot with the background gone, and this is the show shot as it really appears. So you can see I've got all sorts of shadows and other kinds of. What is this? Right? Oh, is this the Logitech? Yeah, I've got the camera in the shot. Sorry about that. So it's amazing what you can do with a green screen. Yeah. Al said, when should I give up on VidBlaster and go to vMix? Al, I've wondered the same thing too, because you've invested a lot of time and energy, and the church has invested some dollars in vMix, and you don't want to see those investments go to waste. But if you think about it, all right, Rich, glad to have you. It's an honor to have you for sure. But if you think about, the fact that, periodically, for example, an automobile has to be replaced because it wears out. Not that the software's worn out, but that it's become obsolete. And I've had 2 people tell me that they've gone to VidBlaster to get updates, and they were told that number 1, that they couldn't update it, and number 2, that their license had expired. And this was a permanent license like the kind you have. So that, I haven't talked to anybody with vMix, and so that's kind of given me a little cause for concern. And as a result, certainly I'm not going to recommend something like that seems to have some misunderstandings with the company about, a lifetime license suddenly being not a lifetime license anymore. So there is that. I know the new method that VidBlaster is using to provide software to folks is on a subscription basis. So the equivalent of the package that you have now is $100 a year, $99 a year, and includes all the updates that have been done to it. And there have been some updates, and VidBlaster has taken a little different track with this new effects bus that it's using, and so that's a different way of doing things. Yeah, and Giles said that the vMix license is only good for 100 years, so there is that. Yeah, that's a problem that we're all likely to be faced with one day, or not, as the case may be. Yeah, the first time I saw the vMix license, and I noticed it was like, what was it, February of 2015 that I had gone from the free license to a paid license. And I looked at it and saw that, it expired in February of 2015. And I was like, no, this is something's wrong with this software. What I didn't see is that it expired in 2115. And I think they've actually taken the 100-year cap off of it, so that's interesting. 180 said, would it be a good idea soliciting local businesses to do professional live multi-camera productions for their Facebook Live presentations? Absolutely. Or for their own websites, or for their own ways to create their own kind of personality shows in whatever their industry is. Yeah, I think that's great. In fact, that's what Sheldon Neal is going to come and talk about when we can get him on the show here in 2 or 3 weeks. Talk about how to take the take the whole streaming concept out into the marketplace and help business professionals be able to use it, no matter what business they're in, whether they're in the carpet cleaning business or whether they're in the lawyer business, cleaning out other people's business. That there's a place, a way to use that technology to differentiate yourself in the marketplace from other people that do similar things. Yeah, so let's wait and see what Sheldon has to say. John says, is there a big demand for instructions on how to prevent Windows Update from downloading updates by itself and also block installation of immediate updates? Yes. Martin S. is here. Welcome. Glad you could make it. Sorry we missed you earlier. It was a good show. At least that's what people are saying. Yeah, Ty, Mike's got an answer for you too. Leah Laporte just moved to a new studio this week. Al says, I think the audio industry could use streaming. Yeah, I think everybody could. I think everybody could. It's if there's an audience, or if your business has clients, your clients are potential audience, as are your clients' friends and family and neighbors. Anybody that your client might talk to about your business. Yeah, it's marketing 101, but with a new tool in the tool belt. Yeah, and I know Ty, for example, is a big marketer, and she's trying to get her arms around this technology and how can I use it in my business. And she's got some concepts of how she wants to do it that I think may plow some new ground. It'll be interesting. Yeah, I was traveling yesterday and I just happened to pick up Leo's video on YouTube from his Saturday and his Sunday shows. And on Sunday they were, talking about, how if you get a show on podcast, you get to hear the conversation while everybody else was hearing the advertising on the live show. So that's kind of cool, kind of like a post-show or a pre-show built right into the middle of the show. And they were talking about, having the only pieces left in their studio were the pieces that they needed to do that show right then on Sunday, that everything else had been moved over and go into a new studio. Let's see. John L., would you think everyone will want to do that? I think Merle, they would, at least the ones that knew enough to ask the question. Bye, Bill. Glad it was helpful. Loved having you. So, Martin S., what's going on? Yeah, John, man, let's do screenshots, put together a video, make it pay-per-view for 99 cents, and I'll help you put it out there. Beautiful new studio where they now have 4 sets in a room. Oh, that's cool. So they probably have cameras as a pod in the center with different sets around the outside. That would be neat. I've been designing studios in my mind too for a multi. The problem with the pods is obviously you can only do one show at a time. And in a professional video environment, especially if you're taking outside clients, you would want to be able to have 2 or 3 clients at a time, I guess. Martin was working. Oh my gosh, that's no excuse. I mean, here it is. What time is it for you? It's, what is it, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night for you? You shouldn't be working this late. Cameras on wheel dollies. There you go. There you go. No pay-per-view, but we could publish it on your site. You put it on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. Or better yet, you could come on the show and introduce it, and we play it in the show and then put it on the YouTube too. But you got to get good internet. Yeah. You could go to the local pub. Do the pubs have good internet? That would be interesting. Here's John coming from the pub in Sweden, Denmark. Wants to tell us about how to keep YouTube from updating until you're ready. I like it. I like it. We might. We had rain a few minutes ago. But let's see what the weather looks like. Weather.com. Fairhope, Alabama. And add an input, web browser. And we'll populate that. And that's us. We're that little mark right in the middle of the screen, so you can see the storms kind of rolling through. If I can make this a little bigger here. I love the web browser. You can use the mouse, but you can't use keyboard. So you can see all the little storms and going a little closer. Move that over in the center. And most of the storms, as you can see, are out in the bay. But every now and then we get a little bit of rain coming through. Isn't that cool that you can just pop up something and it's interactive and there it is? I love it. That's right. John's got the good net. It's Giles that has the bad net. 47 down, 82 up. 82 up using Wi-Fi. Sheesh. All right, let's see what John's speed. Download of 4694, upload of 8173, a ping of 8 milliseconds. And he only gets a grade of B+. Oh my goodness. That's pretty amazing. So Martin's having weather. Well, that's England for you. Yep. That would be England. Giles thinks it's less than 1 megabit. Both directions. I've been there. Scandinavia in general has good internet. Wow. Where am I located? I am located right here. Right on the Gulf of Mexico. Just at the end of Florida. So if you've heard about flooding in the U.S., in Louisiana, that's to the west of us. Baton Rouge area. And you can see there's a little possibly bad weather coming our way down here. Which could form into a hurricane. It's that time of year. John's wife has only been to the west coast of the U.S. Oh, wow. Well, the U.S. is so different from place to place. It's you know, our area here is so different from the west coast. The population is so much smaller. Things are much slower, more leisurely. Our roads are not big like on the west coast. There's a road for us going this way and a road for them going that way. Martin S. has never been to the USA. Martin, I've never been to Great Britain. John says we no longer raise our eyebrows at someone having gigabit in their home. Wow. Gigabit at home. I remember when I had DSL at home, I thought it was great because I got a megabit download. Woo! And a megabit download, you could watch a low-res YouTube video. Yes, indeed. I'm always welcome there. Well, you know, that would be fun. I would love to come. I had an opportunity to visit Great Britain as a child, a teenager, and I was a teenager. I was stupid. I didn't go. I stayed at home. My family went. They left me at home. You know the rest of that story. Yes, you do. Yep. But it had a good ending. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up here today and get this show uploaded. And, John's wife has been to Las Vegas, San Francisco, Oregon, Portland. All right, very good. You've seen some of it. You haven't seen the South. The South is different. Yeah. Definitely different. Yes, John. Yes. Yes. But actually, I didn't meet her until after they were gone. I didn't know. It's a story for a different day. Story for a different day. And it doesn't end anywhere close to where you think it might. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so funny. All right, guys. Well, I will definitely be seeing y'all next week. And go do great things. And if you have any questions that you think I can help with, definitely let me know. And Mike here has got the article. I'm going to go to it right now. This is the webcam article to say why is Windows 10 anniversary update breaks most webcams, and this is dated the 19th, which is 5 days ago. But I think they have released a fix since then, because my Logitech webcam, which is not the one in this picture, oh, you can't see the picture. Anyway, okay. Thanks, guys. It's been a treat, as usual. And Martin S., yeah. Oh, one thing I found out is that of course, we're using YouTube to stream this, which means YouTube records it, and it ends up being about an hour and a half, something like that, including the pre-show and the post-show and the show in between. And sometimes it takes YouTube a while, maybe an hour or more, to process that. So I hope you can get it soon. And John says he hasn't had any issues with his two Logitech C920s. That's great. That's good news. That's good news. All right, guys. Sayonara. I'm going to leave the stream up in case you had some buffering. You won't, what am I trying to say? I have no idea what I'm trying to say. Anyway, catch you later.